Have you ever wondered what the true purpose and power of Freemasonry is? The answer might surprise you, and many Masons mistakenly believe that the profound lessons of the craft can solely come from its rituals. But as I recently discussed in an enlightening conversation with a brother on the Daily Masonic Progress YouTube channel, there's much more to Masonry than meets the eye. So in this episode, we're going to uncover the 3 key insights that will revolutionize your understanding of Freemasonry and will help you tap into its transformative potential. First, I'm going to reveal the surprising truth about where the real wisdom of Masonry comes from. And here's a hint, it's not just the rituals. And then once you understand this, you'll be able to access a vast vault of knowledge that will deepen your own Masonic journey. Then we'll dive into the critical mistake that's holding many Masons back from truly understanding the craft and the simple shift in perspective that can unlock a whole new level of insight and growth. If you've ever felt like you're just going through the motions in your practice of Masonry, well, this is going to be a game changer. And then finally, I'm going to take you through the process for extracting and applying the life-changing lessons that are hidden within our Masonic ceremonies. And even if you're new to the craft or struggling to find its relevance in your daily life, by the end, you're going to have a clear roadmap for turning Masonic theory into transformative practice. Plus, if you stick around to the end, I'm going to share a powerful tip that will supercharge your own Masonic journey and help you become a more impactful leader, not only in your lodge, but in your daily life and local community. So let's dive in and discover the true purpose and the power of Freemasonry.
The comments, opinions, and views shared during this program are of those individual Freemasons and do not reflect the official position of a Grand Lodge, concordant body, appendant body, Masonic authority, or craftsmanonline.com.
Welcome to the Daily Masonic Progress Podcast with your host, Right Worshipful Brother Darren Allett.
Have you ever felt like there must be more to Masonry than just the rituals? And if so, you're not alone. You see, many Masons go through the motions of the degrees without even discovering the true depth of wisdom available in all of Freemasonry. The key to unlocking this hidden knowledge lies in understanding where the real lessons of Masonry come from. And contrary to popular belief, the rituals themselves are not the ultimate source of Masonic wisdom. Rather, they're a synthesis, and they're designed to point us towards 3 foundational texts that hold the key to understanding the craft's profound teachings: the Holy Bible, Euclid's Elements, and Plato's Dialogues. I was having a discussion in the comments sections of another video with my brother, and he eloquently explained this point in that discussion. He stated that Masonry, when properly observed, directs the man to its constituent parts, which there are only 3: the Holy Bible, the Elements of Euclid, and the Dialogues of Plato. And these are the 3 pillars of the Western tradition. And these 3 texts form the bedrock upon which the entire Masonic philosophy, symbolism, and allegory is built. The Holy Bible provides the spiritual and moral foundation. It teaches us about the nature of God, the importance of virtue, and the path to salvation. And I want to just pause here for a moment and talk about that term, the path to salvation, because there's an important distinction we need to make. Freemasonry and Masonry is not the path to salvation. That is not what I'm saying. I need to be very clear here. What I'm saying is the Holy Bible itself is the path to salvation. And Masonry is not saying that we're here to replace the Holy Bible, but rather Freemasonry is reinforcing and redirecting Masons to the Holy Bible for salvation. Now, if the Holy Bible is not your volume of sacred law, it could be another book. Replace the term Holy Bible with volume of sacred law and whatever your sacred religious text is. Freemasonry is directing you as the Mason to consult your sacred religious text, to consult your own individual faith, to consult those beliefs and that text which comes from the Creator for that path to salvation. Masonry is telling you that we're not the place for that, but there is somewhere else to go, which is the Holy Bible or the volume of sacred law. And now that we've cleared that up, there is Euclid's Elements, which on the other hand represent the intellectual and rational side of Masonry, providing a framework for logical thinking, problem solving, and the understanding of the universal truths through geometry. And then finally, Plato's dialogues. They offer profound insights into the nature of reality, the pursuit of wisdom, and the ideal structure of society as well as government. Together, these three pillars cover the full spectrum of human knowledge and the human experience, from the spiritual to the intellectual, from the moral to the political. And by immersing ourselves in their teachings and applying their lessons to our lives and our Masonic journey, we can unlock a vast reservoir of wisdom that goes far beyond the basic teachings of the craft. As my brother put it, no man should ever consider himself master of anything without at very least being conversant in these three texts, and there is not a single thing to be found in Masonry that wasn't sourced from these three books alone. However, it is important to recognize that simply reading these texts is not enough. You see, to truly benefit from their wisdom and the wisdom of Masonry, we need to actively engage with those texts, and I would think through that lens of Freemasonry. And this means studying their lessons in the context of the craft's symbolic and allegorical system, discussing their implications with our fellow brethren, and applying their insights to our daily lives and our Masonic work. But my brother also cautioned against the mistake of seeing Masonry as its own source of wisdom and independent, in a sense, from these foundational texts. And many men make a huge mistake in seeing Masonry as its own source, when in fact, it's meant to help heal the lame men, as referenced in Acts 3:11, by preparing them to engage with the material that actually improves them as a man. So in other words, Masonry is not an end in itself, but rather a means to an end, a path of initiation and self-improvement that guides us towards the true sources of the wisdom found in the volume of the sacred law, Euclid's work, and so is Plato's. So then by embracing these texts and learning these as the foundation of our Masonic journey, we tap into a wellspring of knowledge and inspiration that transforms our lives as well as our understanding of the craft. But in order to fully grasp the significance of these texts, we need to dive deeper into Freemasonry's peculiar system of symbolism and allegory, because it is through this system that the abstract lessons of these texts are made concrete and applicable to our daily lives as Masons. So we're going to explore how this system works and how it can help us bridge the gap between Masonic theory and Masonic practice. You see, in my view, one of the biggest mistakes many Masons make is viewing Freemasonry as purely an intellectual pursuit and taking the speculative to an extreme, but also how we get caught up in the superficial and barely scratching the surface of just memorizing ritual. It doesn't give us anything to go with. But then we can also fall too far into the intellectual side and debate symbolism and philosophize about all these abstract concepts, but then fail to bridge the gap between theory and application. You see, the disconnect between the abstract and the practical is holding many Masons back from truly understanding and benefiting from the craft. If you want to experience the transformative power of Masonry, you need to shift your perspective and embrace its practical dimension as well. My brother also expressed reservations about this idea. He argued that Masonry is primarily concerned with abstract and universal concepts rather than practical ends. He emphasized that the craft deals with theology, philosophy, and mathematics, which are not meant for practical purposes. And look, I completely understand, and to a degree and an extent, I agree with this perspective. But I respectfully disagree with the notion that Masonry has no practical application. Dismissing the operative meaning of our symbols and allegories is only considering their theoretical value, and that is a huge mistake. Although focusing solely on theoretical aspects is not wrong in itself, just ignoring the practical value of Masonry limits our understanding and our growth. You see, the real genius of Masonry lies in its ability to take the theoretical lessons from the foundational texts and transform them into a powerful system of self-improvement and practical application in our daily lives. And through the operative meanings of our Masonic symbols and the hands-on work of running a lodge, we turn these abstract principles into concrete skills and habits that will serve us both in and out of the lodge. I want to illustrate this point, and let's consider Euclid's Elements, a foundational text that not only provides the theoretical framework for geometry and logic, but also forms the basis of practical applications like engineering and architecture. The fact that the Romans then later used Euclid's principles for practical building demonstrates that theoretical knowledge can and should be applied in real-world contexts. The same principle applies to our Masonic symbols and allegories, and here's a perfect one for example. Take the 24-inch gauge or 2-foot rule. On a theoretical level, this tool teaches about the importance of time management and the balance between work, rest, service, and service to God. But on a practical level, it provides us with the framework for planning and executing projects effectively. By learning to apply the operative lessons of the 24-inch gauge, where we carefully measure resources, we break our work into manageable parts, we budget our time and our money and our energy, we can bring the Masonic wisdom to bear fruit in every aspect of our lives. But my brother did warn against reducing Masonry to a mere set of practical skills or self-improvement techniques, and arguing that its true purpose is to elevate our minds to above those worldly concerns. And I agree, it's an essential part of Masonry's ultimate aim with spiritual and moral growth, but I believe that the practical application is an essential means to that end. And by embracing a hands-on approach to the craft and applying its symbolic lessons in our daily lives, we not only unlock new levels of personal and Masonic understanding, but we also transform ourselves into living embodies of our Masonic principles. We become better men, better leaders, and better servants to our communities and to the world. And this is the true power of practical application in Masonry. It's not a reduction of the craft's powerful teachings, but rather a necessary complement to its theoretical and speculative dimensions. And only by uniting all three of these aspects, the spiritual, the intellectual, and the practical, we can fully materialize the transformative potential of Freemasonry in our lives and in the world. Think of it as body, mind, and spirit. So let's now explore how we can actually achieve this powerful synthesis and unlock the full depth of the Masonic wisdom through integration of that theory and practice. Now, at this point, you're probably wondering, how exactly do I go about bridging the gap between Masonic theory and Masonic practice, and how can I take these abstract lessons of the craft and apply them in my daily life? Well, the key here is to approach Freemasonry as a unique blend of the speculative and the operative, a transformative alchemy of wisdom and action. Rather than getting bogged down in these intellectual debates or empty ritual, you need to engage with the craft as a living and breathing system of personal growth and practical application. And this is where the true magic of Masonry happens. See, this is where the true magic of Masonry happens, in the sacred laboratory that is the lodge. It's where you can test and apply the profound teachings of the craft in a safe and supportive environment. And by immersing yourself in the symbolism and allegories of the ritual, discussing the lessons of the foundational text with your brethren, whilst taking on the practical challenges of lodge management and leadership, you'll actually engage in a powerful process of experimental learning that will accelerate your growth and transformation. But to fully embrace this alchemical process, you need to approach your Masonic work with intention, mindfulness, and a spirit of continuous improvement. And this means setting things like clear goals for your personal development, reflecting on your Masonic progress and the challenges that you face, and then actively seeking out opportunities to apply these Masonic principles in your life. But it also means being willing to take a step outside of your comfort zone, take on new roles and responsibilities in your lodge. And that could be delivering a charge, mentoring a new brother, or taking on a leadership position, or even working towards that through progressive office. You see, each new challenge is an opportunity to put the Masonic teachings into practice and to grow as a person and our character. So then by embracing this transformative approach to Masonry, you'll find that the craft becomes not just a hobby or some social club, not just a charity, but a powerful catalyst for personal growth and positive change in the world. You develop a deeper understanding of yourself, a rich connection to your brethren, and a clearer sense of purpose and meaning in your life. So what is the true power and purpose of Freemasonry? Well, what it all comes down to is Freemasonry's ability to unite theoretical wisdom with practical application. By tapping into the profound lessons of the foundational texts, applying the operative meaning of our symbols and our allegories, and engaging in the transformative work of the lodge, you can unlock the full potential in yourself from the craft and give yourself that personal growth. But this alchemical process of uniting theory and practice is just not a one-time event. It's a lifelong journey of continuous learning, growth, and application. You see, to truly benefit from Masonry, you need to approach it as an ongoing process of self-discovery, self-improvement, and service to others. And as for that bonus tip, if you want to supercharge your Masonic journey and accelerate your personal growth, I highly recommend making a daily practice of studying and reflecting on the lessons of the craft. Set aside time each day to read from the holy Set aside time each day to read from the volume of the Sacred Law, Euclid's Elements or Plato's Dialogues, and study the ritual. And you can consider how you can actually apply their wisdom in your life. But that can be a significant investment from your time. And if you don't have a lot of time to do that, well, subscribe to Daily Masonic Progress, where I distill the lessons of Freemasonry for you in a 5 to 10 minute read. You get a daily email, YouTube video, or podcast episode. Just subscribe. The link is in the description. But shameless plug aside, you might also consider keeping a Masonic journal where you can record your insights, questions, and goals for growth, and make study and the application of Masonic lessons a daily habit. You'll deepen your understanding of the craft, accelerate your progress, and unlock new levels of personal and Masonic success. So if you're ready to take your Masonic journey to the next level, become a more impactful person in your own life, in your lodge, be sure to check out my previous article on mastering the liberal arts and sciences, which is where I discuss how you can unlock the secrets of Masonic wisdom. And in that article, you'll discover the powerful framework for understanding and applying the 7 liberal arts and sciences in your Masonic journey. And you'll learn the proven strategies for accelerating your growth and success as a person and as a Mason in the craft.
This has been the Daily Masonic Progress Podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, make sure you follow us on Spotify or subscribe on Apple Podcasts. The Daily Masonic Progress Podcast is available on all streaming platforms with new episodes every week.